Time's up. Let's do this.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's now 3 p.m. at GMT plus 8. In Bangkok, it's 2 p.m. And effectively, we're going into the third round here. Fourth round. Fourth round, it's going to be between a lot of players, but we're going to be streaming THiCAROV as well as GrumpyKitten. Both of them looking like they're kind of undefeated, I think. Am I right? Let me just check. Yeah, they're both undefeated. So, yep. I'm Babael, joining with this Katips. Katips, how you doing, man?
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Saturday qualifiers for BlizzCon Americas. And today we're doing Thailand, tomorrow we're doing Indonesia, and we're doing Singapore. Saving the best for last, I think. Wouldn't you agree, Babael?
I wish. I certainly hope that my fellow countrymen will do me proud. Unfortunately, I have my certain doubts against them, but
but yeah,
they're all my friends, that's why.
Yeah. So we're going straight into the game. THiCAROV versus GrumpyKitten. I believe we have THiCAROV on the bottom half of the board. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
THiCAROV is going to be on the right side, which is also known as the bottom half of this board. We're going to be watching this game from his perspective. And on the left-hand side is GrumpyKitten. He's going to be on the top half of this board as well, playing as the Hunter. So, effectively, we're finally back into some grounds that, we are a little bit more familiar with. The Hunter up against Gul'dan.
Yep, so it's Hunter versus Zoo, and as always, the most crucial card in this matchup is Unleash the Hounds. When to play it, what to play it with, and how many minions you're effectively wiping out from the side of Zoo. So right now, THiCAROV is going to have an early advantage with the Taunter and the Direwolf Doggy, and now coming out is the Harvest Golem. So he has very decent board control. GrumpyKitten opening up with the Spiders, as per usual in the new Nexramas Hunter decks. And he's going to have to take some damage to the face for now and not be able to get past the Taunter first in the meantime. And THiCAROV also now has Nerubian Egg and Defender of Argus in his hand, just for a later turn, just some additional defense. So,
yeah.
How do you feel about GrumpyKitten's opening hand so far?
I feel like his hand's pretty good. There's UTH already. There's also the Houndmaster. There's also Animal Companion, which I am pretty sure he's going to play Animal Companion next turn. The real problem here I feel with THiCAROV's hand is the fact that, okay, he decides to go for the egg, which I feel is slightly better because, you don't want to put the, Argent Square is going to stand alone, 1-1, no buffs. But the main reason why you don't want to play Harvest Golem is because when you play Harvest Golem, it instantaneously tells your opponent that you're playing a Death Rattle variation of the Zoo deck. If not, there's no real reason to run the Harvest Golem, but here comes a Timberwolf. And effectively, GrumpyKitten's actually still going to coin out UTH here because that's 4 minion. And really, wow, okay, full on aggro. Forget about card draw, we're just back to basic. We're now going to try and completely clear the board. There is sufficient clear for even the Nerubian. And the Web Spinner is going to draw GrumpyKitten a Silverback Batrach, which is completely useless. But
completely useless. So not one of the more favorable beasts coming from the Web Spinner. Not going to see some King Crush action like we did last week. But anyway, yep. So GrumpyKitten in a good position right now. THiCAROV down to just a few cards. He's going to be forced to tap in the next few turns. And GrumpyKitten with a nice board control with the Direwolf Alpha. Sorry, with the Timberwolf. And the Defender of Argus Egg is going to take that out nice and proper because you don't want to give so much value to all of his other minions. And a nice defense in the form of the Argent Squire with the Taunt and the Divine Shield.
Ooh, I don't like that. I seriously felt that he should have gone for face instead. I mean, there is no real reason except for the fact that he might be afraid of something like a Houndmaster on the Spectral Spider that really gives it, like, I think +2/+2, which is making it a 3 and 4. Yep. That could be the real reason why he's trying to kill that. But other than that, there's no real reason. But here comes the Scavenging Hyena that's going to get completely buffed up. And I think that they're not going to pop the egg.
So how do you feel about THiCAROV running Flame Imps and Harvest Golems? Like,
I feel he's confused. He is confused between the Death Rattle variation or the Demon variation. Even then, I think Flame Imp is not really good these days. Even with Void Caller, I feel like Flame Imp is a thing of the past. Yep. You generally want to play Flame Imp in a very strong, high-speed tempo deck, which don't really involve stuff like Harvest Golem, which could be the main purpose of this deck. But he runs stuff like Lower Thab as well, which I feel is also a bit too slow for a Zoo.
It's kind of like half in the past and half in the current meta.
It's like
we're not
middle
seeing
transition.
Undertakers. Yeah, we're not seeing Undertakers. We're not seeing Zombie Chow. Not
Oh,
seeing
yeah.
Death Lords. So the 3 mana slot is usually taken up by Void Terror, and he's running Harvest Golem instead. So it's a bit of a old school / mid school, not exactly
Oh my
new school.
god, that's a 8/5. Okay. Okay, son,
Wow.
that you need to cool down. Okay, he's going in for the kill right now. 9 health, a double kill command is gonna do the job. But of course, we know it's not in the hand there for GrumpyKitten. And now back to THiCAROV. THiCAROV is effectively looking at, okay, he gets Doomguard. See, Doomguard's just gonna discard Lower Thab. So why do you want to run Lower Thab in a deck like that?
Yep.
There is
so-
also no Void Caller yet, so that's completely, I feel, sad. We'll see.
So he definitely needs to get rid of that 8/5. That's a lot of damage to take in, and obviously he's not going to survive it. But
Yeah, in short, now the bot is slightly favoring THiCAROV, but here comes the Enema Companion. That's Leok. Taunt's gonna get a bit of a buff. It's now 2/4, and effectively the Silverback Petrarch, man. Who knows? He might just have skins. And oh my god, a Royal Flush! Double Doomguard in hand, no Void Caller. THiCAROV is in such a bad spot. He can only hope he tap into something that is not a Soulfire, and then discard that with Lower Thab, so he can run double Doomguard.
yeah, I totally agree with you. Why would you be running Lotheb in that same slot as a Doomguard when the whole purpose is to get your cards out early as fast as possible, and then clearing the way for a free Doomguard? So that's exactly the worst case scenario for THiCAROV right now.
Generally, you play Doomguards in decks that that either you can throw cards out very fast, meaning that Zoo, as you can see, most Zoo decks, they don't keep tech cards. They run tech cards because tech cards play on specific situations, and you generally have to keep them in the hand. The other way you play Doomguard is with a Void Caller. With the new Nextrama's Void Caller, it
right.
instantaneously comes up for free. But there's a little bit of a twist to that, and that is that you cannot have any other demons in the hand.
That's right.
I don't see a Void Caller yet. He might, I don't know, he might run that, seeing how he ran Lower Thab. He's actually going to go with Doomguard, and he's going to discard 2 cards, and I think the screen is slightly laggy for us,
It
but
is. Yeah.
okay. Alright, so his client just lagged a little bit. Maybe not the client, his streaming client, TeamViewer, just lagged a little bit there. He's actually going to go for Flare for GrumpyKitten, and that's going to draw him 1 card. Savannah Highmane is going to be a blessing in disguise, but Doomguard. Doomguard did discard 1 Doomguard, and what else? Argent Squire?
Yep, that's right. He still has Lotheb in hand.
Okay, and he gets Soulfire. So here he plays Lower Thab Soulfire. Don't tap first. Okay, he's really the risk taker. He cannot play the Flim Imp.
Yep, 2 low health. Oh boy.
Was he hoping for Soulfire top deck? I don't know, man.
We can play Lotheb. He can get rid of that. Well, I don't think he's gonna survive anyway. Either way, with hero power, it's pretty much over.
Yep, you're right. He can definitely Soulfire 1 of 2 hyenas. And that's a really expensive exchange. In 2 turns, effectively, THiCAROV, if he doesn't have an answer, he has lost his Doomguards. He has lost 1 Soul. Okay, he has got 1 Soulfire in hand. And effectively, he's forcing GrumpyKitten to just hero power. That's the beautiful thing about Lower Thab against Hunter. Hunters don't care. Steady shot all the way.
The only thing you're gonna stop is a deadly shot or a kill command, but then against the hero power, not really gonna help you very much.
Yeah. Okay, so he's gonna deal for 5, and he's down to 1 health. How is he gonna die? By the Flim Imp, of course.
Yeah. Tap or flame him. Go out like a gentleman. Go out by your own hand.
It feels a little sore to me. I don't know. Whatever death feels sore unless it's natural cause. So I just have that kind of a law going into games like this. But of course, now THiCAROV's perspective is slightly laggy, so it's a little unfortunate. Okay, it lags at times, it spikes on the others. And again, I have to remind all our viewers today that because of the absence of observer mode or spectator mode, better known as the tournament mode, we will not be able to just go in the game and have a seamless view of this tournament, but we will be able to get the feed from players who in Thailand have an average upload speed of between 5 to 10 megabyte per second, which is very slow and low. So do pardon the players. It's not their fault. The infrastructure in Thailand is not perfect, and effectively, this is one of the main reasons why I'm looking forward to the Singapore one, because we will have good games, for sure. Good stream games. Whether the quality of the games is going to be on par, I have no idea.
I really can't wait for observer mode. It's just gonna solve so many problems. We could potentially see deck lists on screen, what the players have drawn and what they've discarded. What it would be really nice.
I don't think we'll see deck lists on stream yet, because effectively, even in tournament mode,
Oh yeah, that's right.
you know, you don't want to let your opponent know that you have this particular amount. It's kind of like defeating the purpose, I feel, but that's still an idea that, you know, we can always look into. And that's it. We're going into the second game between THiCAROV and GrumpyKitten. The sides are still going to be the same. THiCAROV going to be the bottom half of this board, as well as on the right hand side, and GrumpyKitten going to be taking the top half of this board as the same hunter, and going to be occupying the left side of the screen as well. You can see his hand right there, and we're into the mulligan phase here. The Druid is going to be the answer, or that's what THiCAROV is thinking.
Yep. So I think Hunter has a good matchup against Druid. Just for the mere fact that it's when the Druid runs out of removals, Keeper of the Grove, swipe, it becomes difficult for him to deal with the end game, or to deal with stuff like Unleash the Hounds with Timberwolf.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I hate a turn 1 tracking. I really hate turn 1 tracking. Tracking is such a good card. 1 mana cost to get 3 chances at an answer for any possible situation.
Yes.
His hand doesn't look bad. His hand has got Egon Hornbow. He also has got Enemy Companion. This is not the aggro hunter. I don't think it is. And effectively, I cannot recall what he discarded, but he did went for Haunted Creeper.
He discarded Houndmaster and Unleash the Hounds.
Oh,
That
expensive.
Yeah, so just as an explanation, why you don't generally want to track in turn 1, especially if you have a good hand. I mean, GrumpyKitten's hand with Animal Companion and the bow is not terrible. It could be better. But the reason you don't tracking on turn 1, as Babael said, tracking is used to draw into an answer. It's as a response to something. It gives you the chance to basically draw 3 cards and get the exact right one that you need for the exact situation that you're in. There is no situation in turn 1 except possibly a bad hand.
Okay.
So you're not getting the maximum value out of tracking. It's such a good card, as Babael said. It's one of the most powerful cards in the game. It's kind of like a demonic tutor if you're a Magic player.
All right. So back to this game, THiCAROV actually did a really good play. He dealt the damage with the Harvest Golem onto the Haunted Creeper, and that spawned Spectre Spider. 1 good swipe cleared everything, and now he's also gonna have the ability to replay his Harvest Golem for 5, which is what I think he's gonna do. So much value in this Harvest Golem. He can also go for DOTC. The Druid of the Claw would be pretty good, but normally I like to keep Druid of the Claw as a bit of an extra option in the late game, because it does have the charge function. And he does already have the Force of Nature Savage Rock combo in hand. Now it does seem like it's THiCAROV's game to lose. He is looking pretty okay with Ancient of War and Hunters having virtually no way to get past this bear, equipping the bow, hero power, and Leroy Jenkins. I don't know, man, it's just not looking good.
Yeah, so lots of answers in THiCAROV's hand. As you said, he does have the combo, he does have a lot of defense, and unless GrumpyKitten's already lost one of his Unleash the Hounds, so one of his main card draw and removal is already gone from him from that turn 1 tracking. I think that was a crucial. It started.
Oh, no.
I think it started in that turn 1, and I think that's gonna end with that one.
Big top deck, Keeper of the Grove, silence on the Savannah High main.
Wow. Okay.
Big top deck. Okay, the thing here is that it would have been a lot better if it was if he's able to kill that easily, but he doesn't have a way to do that. So he is gonna have to sacrifice his bear, as well as the fact that he's gonna have the hero power to run into that. I feel he can also Moonfire, but Moonfire, you're just gonna have to give yourself a little bit more problems. So I like the silence a little bit better, and yeah, just take 6 damage like a man. I mean, you're playing as the Druid in this game. I know it's a hunter, but this does not seem like it's really an effective hunter yet, in terms of hunting the face hunter route, going for full-on aggro. So taking 6 damage here, I think it's okay.
And I'm really disappointed in that turn one tracking. It just lost him a Houndmaster. It lost him a Unleash the Hounds. That might be the one of those cards could have been the crucial one. He didn't need Spectral Spiders at that early game, but he definitely needs Unleash the Hounds somewhere in the middle of the game. So, and now THiCAROV, yeah, full board control on his side with a Tonner. That's a little okay. So it's already he's used it up.
All right, just for the record, the beauty of a druid up against hunter is the fact that he doesn't need to have many minions. He just needs to have 2, and he needs you to be at about 28 health. And turn 9, Force of Nature, Savage Roar, you're dead.
Exactly. And
Look
THiCAROV,
at
I
this
think
aggression.
a turn 8, Ancient of War would be perfect. Just some nice defense.
Or just don't nourish. Just don't nourish Ancient
Just
of War.
don't
I think you cannot go wrong with that play.
Yep.
Okay, on the other hand, you have also the fact to consider that GrumpyKitten might have something like a Hunter's Mark and a Stone Tusk Boar. Those are Hunter's way of dealing with really big minions, and I think that they're so far kind of effective, except for the fact that you're just doing a 2-for-1. But, you know, it's, in short, still better than a Druid. They don't really have a way to deal with big minions. I feel that, yeah, he's going for the Ancient of War. This is a bit of a risk for THiCAROV if there is a Hunter's Mark and a Stone Tusk Boar. But going by the fact that GrumpyKitten went for turn 1 tracking and he played Spectral Spider, he played stuff that completely aggro. So it is kinda okay to assume that this is a slightly more aggressive hunter than it is a mid-range hunter, even though it does have this Savannah High main and stuff.
Yep.
Okay, there we go, Hunter's Mark. I'm sorry, I jinxed it. He's got UTH as well.
Yep, so...
Oh, he's just gonna pass!
What?
With 5 mana, he's just gonna pass, and here comes the Force of Nature Savage Roar! You gotta be kidding me, he's 1 game up, he could have killed the 5/10. Would he have mattered anyway?
Maybe he was...
20.
I don't know. Maybe he was already expecting the combo was in hand for THiCAROV. That's the only reason that you would have passed that turn.
Oh god, okay, let's see, rationale wise. I think he was at 21 health, which wouldn't have mattered anyway yeah, he would have just died anyway, with
He
Force
was
of
at
Nature
23, but that's still enough with
23?
Savage Roar. Yeah.
Yeah, still enough. Yeah. 20 on... No, if he killed that Ancient of War and turn 9 Savage Roar would only have 14 plus 8, 22. He would be 1 of lethal. Yeah.
But then did he have... Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have enough mana for hero power.
That's right.
And yeah, he would be 1 of lethal, but I guess it doesn't really matter at that point in time. Really, guys, perfect example of turn 1 tracking being a fail. So we're now going into the 3rd game. It's the first time we're going into the 3rd and final ace match between both players. And GrumpyKitten won, THiCAROV won. GrumpyKitten gonna be the Gul'dan up north there, as well as the fact he's gonna be taking on the left hand side of this board. You can see his hand on the bottom left hand corner, and on the bottom board is THiCAROV, and he's gonna be on the right hand side, right hand corner, bottom corner is also his hand, by the way. So Gul'dan up against the Druid. Who do you favor?
What's GrumpyKitten's hand looking like at the moment?
GrumpyKitten's hand looks pretty good. GrumpyKitten does have a Mountain Giant and Sludge Belcher and Molten Giant.
Okay, so running Handlock is actually very interesting against Druid. I think it's favorable for Handlock. Just because he's just 1 Shadow Flame away from removing the entire board of a Druid, for one thing. And it's very difficult for Druids to have single target removal. So if you have a couple of big minions with Taunt, it's very, very difficult for Druid to have to remove that. So I think it's favorable for Handlock.
Yep, okay, so Azure Drake here, top deck for THiCAROV. Can help him get a bit of a draw. The Twilight Drake is a bit of a problem. The second Keep of the Grove is going to be used here just to kill. So he doesn't have any more Silence. Sludge Belcher is going to be the play here. For sure. You're gonna have to go with that. Yep, there we go. No silence whatsoever. This is most irritating taunt in the entire game.
It is. For some reason, it's even more irritating than like a Sunwalker, because 3/5. I mean, How do you feel? How do you feel Sludge Belcher versus
Yes,
something like a Sunwalker?
It's more irritating simply because Black Knight is not gonna address the fact that a taunt will still be there for Sludge
Right,
Belcher,
right.
but Black Knight will kill the Divine Shield Sunwalker. So I feel like Sludge Belcher is a lot better, and also the fact that Sunwalker, yeah, you know what, 4/5, just 1 extra damage and Divine Shield, just for on the record for a little bit more of the irritation purposes, Sludge Belcher does a little bit better.
I totally agree. Just 2 taunts in a row. It's just so annoying to deal with, and like you said, even Black Knight's not gonna be able to get through it right away.
Right, so here comes the Mark of the Wall, and there you see again the 1/2. It is gonna make sure that at least GrumpyKitten gets a kitten there,
Yeah, he gets a free turn basically from that Sludge Belcher.
and he will set up some form of a board presence with a 1/1. Although it's a little bit debatable here. So Savannah's Windrunner. Does he have a way to kill that? No, I think he doesn't have the way to power overwhelming that, so he's just gonna play that, and effectively, this is a huge deterrence for THiCAROV because THiCAROV, he cannot play anything too big. Savannah's gonna steal that, and he's just gonna try and swipe that. Yep, good trade. I like that. Swipe, run the 4/3 into Savannah's, and Savannah's effectively. Well, what GrumpyKitten really did there was give himself a bit of a potential for a clean board and a bit of a refresh. What do you think?
I like that he does have some options going into the next few turns. He still has the option to Yeti, he still has Azure Drake, he has Druid of the Closet defense, and all of those of course can be buffed in turn 9 when Scenarios comes into play. I think that it's kind of still even as far as board control, because once the Molten Giants come down and they get taunt, it's going to be really difficult for a Druid to get past those. So
Ooh.
yeah, but at the moment he does have more options, I think. By he, I mean THiCAROV.
Yeah, okay, THiCAROV runs Healing Touch. That's very, very touching.
So it's kind of like the old school Gaara deck. This was the DreamHack version with the single Healing Touch and the Nourish with the Scenarios. Okay, so here comes Mountain Giant now for GrumpyKitten. Let's see what the response is.
I don't know. For me, Druid is a little bit more phased out of the meta now because of Nextramas just really not buffing Druid, not giving Druid a card that they really need. They answer to big minions. They don't give them that, so that's a little bit sad.
And not even big minions, just like medium minions. Something like a Guardian of Kings and Paladin. Something that's out of like Savannah Hymen exactly is one of them. Out of range from Big Game Hunter, and even then Big Game Hunter is a tech card, so still these medium-sized minions are a bit difficult for Joe.
Oh, big game top deck. Right, so he's gonna have the ability to kill off 1 giant next turn at least. But unfortunately, because of Giant Leaf, here comes the second one. It's a faceless copy. Shameless, I'd say.
Yeah. So it's a little bit laggy for me at the moment for both players, actually.
I think it's a connection. I'm quite fine here. But okay, just for the record, both swipes gone for THiCAROV, and Big Game's gonna kill the 8/8. The 8/4 is still alive. He can run DOTC charge into that just to solve that problem, but he's not gonna do it. He's going for Karn Bloodhoof, and Karn here effectively is just one big cow with a Death Rattle ability. So I think it's okay to run Karn Bloodhoof.
Yep.
Except there's a silence and a Leroy Jenkins with double power overwhelming. And that would be... Oops, what just happened? Okay. So, Leroy Jenkins double power overwhelming is going to be 14 damage. And still not going to be enough. Even a Soulfire is going to come in here. And that's like 16. No. I failed math. 18 by the way. Plus 8, 26. 28 damage in one turn from GrumpyKitten. All he needs to do is deal some damage. He just needs the Giant to deal this 8 damage to the face. And if THiCAROV doesn't heal up at 24 health, he's dead next turn.
Yep, exactly right. So let's see. Well, THiCAROV can obviously put down Scenarios. Scenarios with the 2 taunts will give him enough defense to stop that kind of offense.
Actually, no. If the Giant dies, he's fine. Okay, so the Giant does die. Yeah, because I was counting the damage with the Giant involved. So there will not be lethal yet. And it's actually pretty interesting to see GrumpyKitten run 2 power overwhelming. rarely you will
Very
see
rare.
that handlock. Yeah, very rare
exactly.
because you normally just want to run one power overwhelming with Leroy Jenkins and then you faceless that for 20 damage. But he faceless the Mountain Giant, which is fine. But the second power overwhelming is really tricky here. What's he gonna do with that?
Well, he can still hope into the Leroy combo for later, but he still needs to get past this right now.
He needs Shadow Flame right now.
Yeah, he needs Shadow Flame for sure. He can Shadow Flame the Owl with Power Overwhelming. That's going to clear out the board. But then there is Ancient of War and half the combo.
Oh, and he gets Shadow Flame. Look at that. Wow.
Wow, perfect. Awesome.
Okay, he will not Shadow Flame the Owl. He will Shadow Flame the Ancient Watcher with Power Overwhelming. He has enough mana for that. And the Owl will deal sufficient damage. No! No, sir. This is... Okay. I thought he could deal 2 damage, but I guess he doesn't care about 2 damage. He wants to keep the Ancient Watcher up. He has used up 1 Silence, he's used up 1 Shadow Flame. So what good is the 4/5 that cannot attack?
Has he used up his Defenders of Argus or
No.
Sunfree
He used
Protectors?
1 Sunfree Protector.
Right.
I'm tracking this with my brain. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not really tracking this with a spreadsheet whatsoever because I'm doing production. But my brain can only bring me so far. So if you spot a mistake, drop it on the Twitch chat so everyone else will know. And you guys are a little bit more informed than I am. So here comes the life tap. And this time around, it gives him the Mountain Giant. That's not good.
So Mountain Giant still, I mean, it's still viable. It's going to be a little difficult now trying to manage these taunts, especially with another
I
Ancient
think
of War
it's
on the
game,
way.
by the way. I think it's game for THiCAROV next turn. If none of these minions die, A, and B, if this is why you Shadow Flame the freaking 4/5 with Power Overwhelming, so your 2/1 can kill 1 taunt. Because look at that, he's got 7 + 2, 9 damage on the field with Force of Nature at 6 mana. That's gonna give him 6. That's 15, and Hero Power, that's 16. That's exactly where Gul'dan is at right now. So if he had the Owl, he would have. Oh my God, he's okay. He's gonna Soulfire 1. He's gonna lose Leroy Jenkins, and this is where this is where it all goes downhill. It's still not lethal yet because he does kill 1/2/2. It's still not over yet.
Well, he could put Ancient of War down and just delay 1 turn, but it's pretty much still over.
Man, he lost Leroy. That's the biggest problem. I would have silenced the 4/5 to kill 1/2/2. I think that the Owl top deck there was rather top life tap, whatever you call that, was a bit of a lifesaver for him. But he just doesn't want to do that. So he could have done this if he Shadow Flamed the Ancient Watcher instead. But now we're just gonna see one big 5/10 and bang. What you gonna do?
No more removals from the side of GrumpyKitten, and it looks like this is the end of the line for him. And nice that THiCAROV still has Black Knight in hand, so if anything poses any resistance to his combo, he still has an answer for it. So
I really like the fact he kept Innovate for both the Black Knight and the Force of Nature.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's good. So he can make a 12 mana play. Sludge Belcher. Look at that, my best friend. He taps Defender Argus as well. Doesn't have the mana for both. Gonna have to choose just one. If he goes for Defender Argus, yep, you buff up your Giant, but your Giant's just gonna be running into the tree there. You can Power Overwhelming your Giant, but given the fact it's at 7 health, I don't think that's ideal. So he's just gonna pass.
Yep. So do you think there's a chance for GrumpyKitten still to come back, or you think this is pretty much it?
I think it's over. I think he's over because he is at 7 health. And you just need to innovate Force of Nature, run all the trees into the Watcher, and deal sufficient damage. GrumpyKitten. You can even buy yourself a bait of a bacon with the blueberry there. My friend Allura calls the Ancient of War blueberry.
He, of course, being the Black Knight.
Yeah, it's really funny the way he says it because you still have blueberry, by the way. And it's like, what?
Blueberry.
How is that tree blueberry? Someone please enlighten me.
He is blue. I mean, there is the color recall. But anyway, yep. So THiCAROV just finishing this off. GrumpyKitten's that's gonna be the end of GrumpyKitten. And as far as the standings go, that puts THiCAROV in 4-0, undefeated.
Yeah. perfect, which means that even if he does lose the next round, he is into the second phase with a single elimination. And GrumpyKitten right now, if he loses one more game, effectively it means that he is up for grabs. By up for grabs, we mean that, you know, he is just very vulnerable and someone else from down under could just replace him. It's just so close, but THiCAROV, man, he just won that very nicely. I think that it really boils down to really interesting decision-making skills coming up from GrumpyKitten. I wouldn't say that his decisions are always better, but I just feel that, you know, Shadow Flaming the 2-1 generally was because it's not without rationale, really. These players, they make decisions with good rationale. The main reason he does that is because he knows he still has got Defender Argus, probably 2 of that and 1 time free Protector. That's why he decides to keep the 4-5 up for good taunt purposes. Really, there's not much of a big fault there, given the fact that, you know, he still managed to survive with Stylish Belcher and the fact that he's Soulfired. But the Soulfire was the main reason why he lost that game, I feel, because the Soulfire discarded Leroy Jenkins, and that was one big charger that you need in that kind of situation. So it all boils down to the fact that he made a bit of a interesting play with with the power overwhelming on the Iron Big Owl and the Shadow Flame there, instead of just, you know, overkilling everything with the Ancient Watcher.
Yep. So Ancient Watcher ended up becoming a dead card, pretty much. And yeah, like you said, that could have been the turning point for him, but unfortunately, he left the dead card. And yeah.
Yep, so interesting how every single decision you make actually really affects the play, if you just think back and look back at that. Yeah, so he could have, I would say that things would have been slightly different, may not have been completely different, he may not have been able to win a game no matter what, but with Leroy Jenkins alive, there's always that silver lining of hope there. There's also Healing Touch in the hand there for THiCAROV, which is really touching, like I said, because no one plays that anymore. But yeah, you know, he is just prepared. So yeah, that's it, guys. Sorry, stuttering today. No idea what's happening. Probably lack of sleep. But so we're gonna be back again at just about 15 minutes for the next round. We started this round at 3 p.m. sharp, so we're gonna be done with this round in just 10 minutes, and we're gonna also disclose our stream game for the 5th and final round in the Swiss round before going into the top 8. We'll also decide if there's any tiebreaker after the next round, so do stay tuned and we'll be right back. Thank you for tuning in. This is Babael, joining me is Katips. See you guys in a while.